Councilmember Stratton, since Councilmember Beggs isn't here to kick it off, I think it's all yours.
Yep, I just got my text that they are ready to roll. So welcome everybody to the Urban Experience Committee meeting. I'm glad everybody is with us this afternoon. Council President Beggs is going to be late to the meeting, so we have one change in the agenda. I'll let everybody know right now. Under staff requests, the item A, we're going to move that to the end of the meeting, so hopefully he can catch that conversation. And I believe, Chris, you were going to report on that, Chris Becker, if she's on. Anyway, please, yes, Chris is on, so please note that that's going to be moved to a little bit later, and I apologize. To start, let's get an approval for the minutes of June 14th.
I'll move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes pass. Okay, let's get right to it. Under staff requests, let's start with the contract for multi-space pay stations with Kale America, and Chris Becker is going to brief us on that.
That's going to be part of A. So I think we need to move A and B.
A and B. Okay, we'll move those to the bottom. Okay, then let's go to C with Amanda, and Amanda's going to talk about floodplain management update.
Good afternoon, Council.
And I may have you speak up just a little bit, Amanda.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
So good afternoon, Council. Again, I'm Amanda Beck with Planning Services. Thank you for allowing me to present. Let me just share with you guys really quick. Sorry about that.
We see it.
All right. So the Washington Department of Ecology and FEMA have made some changes to floodplain regulations, which is prompting the city to update our code. As some background for any members of the public tuning in, I want to briefly touch upon the National Flood Insurance Program, or NFIP, and the city's involvement in that program. So NFIP is overseen by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, and makes flood insurance available that might not otherwise be available through private insurance. For residents to have access, their community must adopt floodplain management regulations that are mandated by FEMA, and then also each individual state has their own additional requirements that a community would be required to adopt. Since its inception in the 1960s, federal guidance on preventing and rebuilding from flooding has moved away from flood control to more of a floodplain management. So while initially that was prompted to relieve the burden of disaster relief on the National Treasury, it's really expanded in the last several decades to recognize the ecological, economic, and safety benefits of floodplains. But at its core, NFIP is about providing flood insurance for structures within the floodplain, which is not included in the typical insurance that a property or business owner would obtain. So briefly, I just want to illustrate what we're talking about when we say floodplain. A floodplain is the area of land adjacent to a river, creek, lake, bay, sea, any of those bodies of water that stretches from the banks of the edge of water to the base of an enclosing valley or wall. So floodplains hold excess volume of water that the floodway isn't able to when there's an excess of volume. And often when we say floodplain, what we mean is something synonymous with a 100-year floodplain, and that is an area that has a 1% chance of experiencing a base flood. So along both the Spokane River and Latah Creek, there is a 100-year floodplain that accommodates excess water due to occurrences such as heavy rain or snowmelt. On screen, you can see a snip of a FEMA flood insurance rate map, or the FIRM, which shows what floodplain properties lies within. So if a property owner within the city were to go and look this up on FEMA, this is what they would see. Spokane has participated in NFIP since the 1970s, almost since its inception. And as such, the city is required to enforce flood hazard regulations. Our floodplain management code is contained in Title 17E.030. The proposed amendment is being completed with Ecology. They're the state's lead for floodplain management and FEMA's partner in enforcing floodplain management for Washington. Updating the city's floodplain regulations ensures that our development requirements are aligned with the Code of Federal Regulations and also applicable laws, so the Clean Water Act, the Water Pollution Control Act. Additionally, this particularly aligns with requirements from the Endangered Species Act to not jeopardize endangered or threatened species and not destroy the habitats they rely on. So for Washington, we're particularly speaking about salmonoid fish in the rivers and the bays that they rely on. At the state level, this ensures compliance with the Growth Management Act by maintaining our critical areas ordinance concerning frequently flooded areas. The proposed changes to the city's floodplain management regulations will include updating definitions and adding new definitions within Title 17A.020. These are minor changes, and they're in line with FEMA's preferred language. They do have phrases and wording that they particularly want localities to use to be in compliance with NFIP. The bulk of the changes will occur in Title 17E.030 and are minor or clarifications of requirements. So changes include updating the code reference to the city's flood insurance rate map, which were updated by FEMA in 2010, amending residential and commercial construction requirements, updating the base flood elevation requirements in line with Ecology's new standards. Ecology has mandated that communities must adopt these federal and state changes by December 21st, and that's why staff is bringing this before you. Thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions anyone might have.
Does anyone have questions? I can't see everyone, so speak up if you have a question. I don't see any. Amanda, thank you for that presentation. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have Carly Courtwright. Is Carly here? There she is. And the MOU between Community Assembly and ONS.
Thank you, Council Member. Good morning. Good afternoon. Monday's flying by me already. So what I have before you, I included in the packet today, was an MOU that we have developed with Community Assembly, between Community Assembly and Office of Neighborhood Services, to address expectations of what that staff support that we should be providing to them actually is. As many of you may be aware, there's been a long-standing support between Office of Neighborhood Services to both the Community Assembly as well as the neighborhood councils. Unfortunately, that expectation of what that support is varies, and it's varied by the director of ONS, it's varied by the expectation of the chair of the neighborhood councils or the general consensus of the Community Assembly at that point in time. So when I took over ONS in September, that was one of the first things I really wanted to address, because it was obviously a source of frustration for Community Assembly in that they hadn't been getting very much support with that position really being vacant for a year. I think the implications of COVID, just different things were impacting them, and there was definitely some tension. So as part of their policies and procedures review that they do once a year, which outlines expectations of Community Assembly themselves, part of that conversation led to what exactly can they indicate for staff to support, because it is a document that governs what their behavior is. It's not binding to ONS staff in particular. However, we did want to be able to address that, and so per the SMC, there is a provision there that will allow for an MOU to be developed that outlines those expectations. So that's the document that I have for you that was in the packet. We formed an ad hoc committee with Community Assembly back in, I want to say it was April, and we've been working on it ever since, kind of fine-tuning and trying to find a document that is still pretty broad. As you'll see, it's maybe not horribly specific, but still really provides expectations of, what exactly the support will do. So, we will take minutes of Community Assembly, but for their committee meetings, they are responsible for taking those minutes. They're an independent organization. That is that duty there. However, we will send out notification for virtual meetings because we have the infrastructure. We will set that up for them. So that's the details of the MOU. Per that same SMC, it has to be approved by council, and it is to be updated as necessary, and every single time would need to be approved by council. The draft before you has not yet been approved by Community Assembly at large. We brought it forward to them twice now, received their input. We will be bringing it to the August meeting for final approval before we'll bring it back to council for approval. But I wanted to take that opportunity to bring it to your attention now to see if there was any feedback, anything that you have heard from your constituents that we maybe failed to include in this MOU that maybe you would like to see in there, any other concerns that you may have. And so, like I said, that's pretty much what I wanted to bring forward to you. With that, I guess I'll turn it over for any questions you might have.
Councilmember Kinnear.
Carly, thanks for this. I think there's a lot of confusion right now with some of the neighborhood councils and perhaps the community assembly, I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything specific except for during COVID, some of the neighborhood councils haven't been meeting because they don't have the knowledge to put the technology in place to make that happen. So some of ours in District 2, they would have no input on that. And I'm wondering if there's a way to get that information out to them that's different than what we've usually done. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really great question, and it's something that I'm struggling with as well in terms of the, I guess, varying level of engagement of some of the neighborhood council chairs. The Budget Committee of Community Assembly, as you're aware, City Council sets aside $25,000 each year for Community Assembly to spend for outreach purposes for the neighborhood councils. And last year we approved all of them buying Zoom licenses so they would be able to use those funds to set up technology. Many of them took us up on that offer. Others did not. Quite frankly, it was very hard to determine if it was just because they were that opposed to a virtual meeting, if it really was just a technology barrier. ONS put together training, so we have a video out there on how to use Zoom. I'm open up to any other ideas that we might be able to do to help support, but that's been, I'll be honest, a little bit of a challenge when some of the neighborhood councils, when we provide or try to outreach to them, they don't return phone calls, they don't return emails. They're independent. There's, only so much forcing of will that we can do on them. So, we try to be proactive, but at a certain point, I think if any one of them is struggling and needs assistance, we're happy to help them try to figure out the best way to do that.
This might be part of a larger conversation around how our neighborhood councils are structured, because there's so much variety. There doesn't seem to be anything that's standardized. At least in our district, there's a lot of frustration about people that have been in place for a very long time without turnover, without fresh ideas. And I don't know the answer. I'm just planting the seed with you so that perhaps we can have a longer conversation about how we go forward with making this work.
I think we'll have some good information to share with you next month. So another thing that has happened over this last year is the money that, again, City Council graciously set aside for us to collaborate with Gonzaga University on a needs assessment and leadership training program. That needs assessment report will be finalized by the beginning of August. We'll be presenting it to Community Assembly at their August meeting. I would love to come back to Urban Experience or possibly even a study session and share the results of those findings with City Council at large. But from the initial meetings that I participated in, a barrier to participation exactly is the things that you have brought up. And some of it is also no one's willing to step up. So some leadership positions don't change because there isn't anybody who seems to be willing. And so that's also causing some burnout. Other times it is it doesn't seem like we're open to new experiences. So some of that feedback, I'm really hopeful, will help us have an honest dialogue and help build a better, recruitment structure, get more people involved, really support having some of that turnover and be in a position. So I think these are all great points. I appreciate you sharing them. And I think trying to, that's one thing I've really appreciated about this MOU process is being able to work with Community Assembly and, start to work through these things that we all really want the same goal. We're just kind of varying on our perspective on how to get there, and having the dialogue is helping us work through that. So it's definitely more of a partnership than I feel like it has been in recent years. And I think they would echo that same thing.
Councilmember Mum.
Yeah, I just want to say, Carly, I'm sorry if you're not hearing back from certain neighborhood groups. I'm sure they all have their reasons why, but council is really close to them. We hear from them, see them at the grocery store. And if there are certain ones you aren't reaching by email or phone, please let us know who you're having a hard time with. And our LAs work really closely with them as well. And we're sort of kind of the first one to hear when there's new leadership. So they're out there, they're active. They've got Facebook pages, they've got next doors, you know. So if we need to make that connection, I think we'd be happy to help.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Councilmember. Take you up on that.
Any other questions? Councilmember Wilkerson.
Thank you, Carly, for that information and what you're trying to establish. So, clarity, there has not been an MOU in place currently with the CA, and it's just been what it has been.
Correct.
Currently. So my only concern will be the lack of voices that we hear. And if we're really promoting new leadership, the people that will be coming in under this MOU will have had no input on what the agreement is between us. And I guess I'm challenged, too, a little bit about the lack of neighborhoods where people don't want to step up. So as we look at the Office of Neighborhood Services, is it doing what we had hoped it would do when it was designed? Because when there is a lack of commitment, then we want the engagement, but are we trying to force something the neighborhoods are really not engaged in? That would be, I guess, my challenge.
I think, and I appreciate that feedback. I agree. I think we've made some really great progress. And one of the things that we have been working on, we've got some really great feedback. We need to get them more widely seen. Right now, they've only been available on Nextdoor, is individual district videos that we've been filming. So we have 3 completed, and so we're starting the rotation again. District 3's video is still in the editing room. But every other week, we're doing about a 2 to 3 minute video that really highlights things that are going on in those districts, neighborhood specifics, and promoting those neighborhood councils, all in an effort to get better visibility, get more people interested in being able to participate. So that's just one thing that we brought forth to the table, trying to really, for lack of a better term, use the city's bully pulpit to advocate on behalf of the neighborhood councils who don't necessarily have the resources to advocate that way. I think to Councilmember Mum's point, our goal is that they can share those on their Facebook pages as well, and further, use our technology and resources to film those to get better support. I think the findings from the needs assessment from Gonzaga have also, interesting shades of, I'll use the example of virtual meetings, which for us seemed like a really great improvement for people that had transportation barriers or child care barriers that weren't able to participate before. The virtual meetings were really great. Some of the feedback we heard from the surveys we did was that actually virtual was still a barrier, again, for people who don't have computers or internet, and therefore that wasn't an ability. So, trying to find what exactly is that sweet spot. Another thing that we've seen is for people in that leadership role, it's time consuming. There's no compensation for it. Is there anything that can be done to sort of incentivize stepping up into that role? So I don't have great answers for you yet, but I think this report is really going to help us start to continue to fine tune what we can do to get more engagement and get some of that changeover. I will address your first point too, is per the SNC, this MOU can be revised annually. Our goal is hopefully that it wouldn't need to be, but, again, the whole tent is always open dialogue. So if we do get new leadership into the CA and they want to have it reviewed and change things, then we will certainly do that. It's not meant to be static, but a dynamic document.
Any other questions? Okay, I would just share, I guess, my 2 cents, and that is not a surprise to anybody that I think we have a lot of issues with staffing. And when I look at our neighborhood councils in Northwest, I've gone to neighborhood councils. It used to be where you always had a neighborhood representative in that meeting. You always had SPD in that meeting. And people love that. That brought people to those meetings because of that connection, because the city showed that it cared what was happening in the neighborhoods. So to me, I think we really have to look at, again, encouraging more staff in neighborhood services. So those individuals that are reaching out to the neighborhoods for the meetings aren't hopping. I mean, literally, they come into a meeting, they have 10 minutes, and then they leave and they go to another one. I think we would get more and we would have more success like we did in the past with these neighborhood councils if there was more than just a city council member there. They want to see staff. They want to see the experts. And that's by no means that's not your fault, Carly, but I do think it's an issue. And I think the more we can touch via neighborhood services to those neighborhood councils, the better we will be and the more ignited those groups will become. Because I've seen it kind of just going downhill for a while, and it's too bad because those neighborhood services employees add so much to the meetings, and they're personable, and the neighborhoods love them, but there's not enough of them to go around. So I would hope as we look to the future that we'll see more happy, experienced and educated employees that can go out there to those neighborhoods and share good information. Okay. Oh, we got Betsy Wilkerson.
Oh, yeah, just to seed planning, and Carly, based on the information you get back from Gonzaga for down the road, I've lost track of how many neighborhood councils we have, over 27.
29, yeah.
29. Really, as the city has evolved, there might be conversation about some of those neighborhood councils combining. The ones that are smaller or just the makeup of the neighborhood has changed. That's not for today, but I think it's something we would have to look at to support them and to create the type of synergy we want in neighborhoods going forward. So just food for thought down the road.
We're in agreement. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Sorry.
Thanks for your feedback, everybody.
Oh, one more thing, if I may. The training and what's going on at Gonzaga, and maybe we've already talked about this, but that's only for a moment. Jack Garrity started this neighborhood program. That's how long this has been going on. And so I would love to see the taping of video be a training opportunity that Gonzaga could do in partnership with our team. So whenever a new council leader is coming forward, that a neighborhood council could show them this on-demand training so they kind of understand what it's all about. Because I appreciate what Gonzaga is doing now, but that'll disappear. And then we're right back to where we were before. So,
thank you. And I think we all agree from some of the initial feedback that we're getting is sustainable, long-term, like onboarding, so providing mentorship, providing some type of training that goes forward. One of the key pieces of feedback was understanding how government works. So that frustration, which I know you all receive when you get emails, why isn't something happening, and not understanding the complex system, or something is happening, but it's maybe not getting the immediate result that you want. Trying to work on providing those trainings as well. So, I think exactly looking for something that is sustainable, that doesn't just disappear, but also is flexible and evolves as the neighborhoods need it. So I think 5 years from now, we're going to have to relook at this and be like, does this still exist? So I think a lot of potential. I think a lot of things that we still need to fix, and I appreciate your comments, Councilmember Stratton, on how we can be more present and offer support while at the same time not burning out staff, because you're right, there's just not enough to go around. I think everybody did it.
Carly, that was good. Thank you so much for the information.
Thank you.
We'll look for the final. Okay. So I have to say before I introduce Andrew for his presentation, I love what's going on up at the Shada Library. I drive by it a lot. It's cool. I'm going to hand it over to you to do your bond update.
Great. Well, good afternoon, Council, and thank you for that comment. I do have a slideshow here. Let me make sure I can get there.
We see it.
Good. Perfect. So you're all aware, we've been implementing our bond projects approved by the public in November of 2018. COVID has not slowed us down much, In fact, this year we will be opening 4 buildings that are either new or redone. And on this slide, you see Liberty Park, the Hive, and the new Hilliard Library. And those are the 3 new buildings that we're going to be opening up to the public this year. We could not be more excited to be in this position to coming out of a pandemic and being able to offer up new and improved services to the public. Now, I will note, as a follow-up from, I sent an email out update last month, construction is on time. Where we are facing a delay is in our shelving. So we are still working out that timeline. The good news is that the Hive will open as we had originally anticipated, August 12th. And the Hilliard Library on the Shaw campus will also open on time on September 2nd for the first day of class. So we're excited to be able to make that happen. Shadle in Liberty Park, we're just going to have to be patient and wait for that shelving to come in and provide a great experience for the public moving forward. As a reminder, we're doing some pretty fantastic and pretty innovative things with this bond measure. We're expanding the opportunities for the public in a huge way. We're increasing the public usable space by 52%. We're increasing public computers by 34%. Public meeting rooms, 470% increase in meeting rooms for the public. So as we're coming out of that pandemic and people are wanting to gather and those neighborhood councils are going to want to meet and our other community groups and business groups are going to want to meet, we are going to be a busy and hopping place, and we couldn't be more excited about that. We'll also be offering up 4 new maker studios for the public. That's at the Hive. We put a call for artists out in partnership with Spokane Arts. And those will be announced in the next week or so about who will be the kickoff artists for those residency spaces. And of course, we're going big and bold with upgraded technology and power, Wi-Fi. It's all going to be very modern, very 21st century capabilities within all of the facilities. Pictures that you see here, the first one is a rendition of what the Shaw Library will be looking like. The middle one is the downtown Central Library and Liberty Park over there on the right. And one of the things that I think is pretty cool about the bond is that, it's really increased our potential for partnerships. Spokane Public Schools is going to have a presence with their Spokane Virtual Learning at Shadle Park. We have the joint facility at Hilliard Shaw with Spokane Public Schools, and they're also the partnership at the Hive, where they'll be using it as a training center. We'll be using it as the artist studios and also for our public events, and it also houses their staff for Spokane Virtual Learning, which allows them to use the Libby Center in a different way for their Spanish immersion program. We're also opening up a cafe at Central in partnership with New Leaf Bakery, which we're pretty excited about. KYRS Radio is going to be moving into Central Library. They're going to be broadcasting from there, partnering with us on our public programs. Startup Spokane partnership, expanding Mark Pond and business librarian, his ability to do outreach for our small businesses. And of course, Spokane Arts, a huge partner in this, not only in just helping us choose the public art for our facilities, but also with our gallery spaces that we'll be having at our facilities, and again, as previously mentioned, at the Hive with those artist studios. And even Shadle, there's going to be a learning garden and a demo kitchen at the Shadle Park Library. So lots of opportunities. We're going to continue to grow these and develop these and see how the community wants to use the facilities. We came into this with the intention of being very flexible in our design. As the community changes, hopefully we'll be able to adapt and learn what their needs are going to be and provide a really great partnership with the community. Just some fun images. The Hive on Sprague. This is going to be so cool. I mean, you have a library building with a neon sign. It cannot get any better than this, Spokane. I'm serious. It's just going to be such an attraction, such a an anchor for the community. I think as a whole for the city, it's going to have the free parking. This is going to be a destination for the community. Here's some inside images. It's got a rough feel to it, a very industrial feel, and that's intentional. It's a place where people are going to be making things, whether it's woodworking, ceramic, painting, you name it. We're trying to provide that capability for the public. Here's an image of Liberty Park. That's the public art going in. That's designed by Sean Parks. He's on the West Side artist, a queer artist, and he's designed a hoop that symbolizes the connection with the Spokane River, but also has a connection of craft, which is often overlooked in our public arts. So we're really proud to have his piece at our facility. You can see the sort of energy that we're going for in the facilities. Lots of use of bright colors and shapes, very open spaces. The kids' areas, these are going to be really fun. The theme at Liberty Park, it's a Sasquatch, and the Sasquatch likes to camp. And you can see, he is, using the zip line at the top, that bottom picture. It's going to be really fun. I think these are going to be really great spaces for the families. And I got to tell you, it's, when you're developing these and designing these and you see the images, on a computer, it's nothing like walking in and having that feeling of, oh, wow, this is real. This is a real thing. So it's just been a really great journey to be able to be start to finish on these projects. This is outside, as Councilmember Stratton had mentioned, Shadle Park. I have a hard time not feeling like this is a real majestic sort of experience. You can see that very high, almost like a cathedral-like feeling when you're walking in. I've been in there when there were no lights on. It was cloudy out. And the way that building captures the light is pretty amazing. It just has such a great connection with the open air, with the parks, and I think the public is really going to dig it. And, before I forget, if any of you want to have a tour of these facilities, please let me know. They're at a point where it's safe to do so. The Shadle Kids areas, that's the installation of again, we have a garden theme, a giant garden theme with giant carrots, and a moose that runs the whole gig here. And this is an example of some of the technology that we're putting in all the rooms with the screencasting and the monitors. This is central. This is sort of a view of how we are going about and taking out the center of the central library and creating this social staircase, which is an added space for presentations or people to gather. Again, it's taking the light and letting it shine through the entirety of the library and giving the first floor to the public. Real intense added functionality that we'll have at that facility. A couple of different views here just of the in construction. You'll see in the bottom here with that pinkish purplish light, we're adding some LED lights in there that we can help, celebrate some of the community events or initiatives in the community as you see at like the pavilion or the steam plant. We can be part of that story as well. And of course, utilizing the view that we have of that third story, making enhancements to the stage area, housing a kids area over on the second floor that they can take advantage of that view of the falls as well. And then we have Hilliard. I don't have as many snazzy pictures for Hilliard, but that project is being run by Spokane Public Schools. It is on time as well. We're really excited about this partnership. I think it's a really great move for us. It's going to allow us to learn a lot as well, especially about our middle school students and how we can serve them better and how we could apply that throughout our system, I think is going to be a huge game changer for us moving forward. And we're really excited about that. They have been such a great partner throughout this process. And it's just one of those things that it just makes sense, right? You've got the school, you've got the library. How can you work better together? So that's where we are with construction. I also wanted to give council just a preview of what we'll be looking at for the 2022 budget. It's a conversation that we've sort of kicked the can down the road. With COVID last year, we didn't really feel like it was an appropriate time to be talking about what those needs will be, but I did want to give the council a preview because I figured it would be a question of, hey, how are you guys going to operate these? That's a lot of change, a lot of bigger spaces, and a lot of functionality that we have there. So I'll show two slides. This is the first one. So with operations and facility costs, that's our estimate for utilities. We don't know. Some of our facilities, like the central library, we're upgrading all the HVACs and making them, much more energy efficient, but we're changing the usage so extremely that we really don't have a great idea. With Shadle, it's the same story. We're doubling the size, but also increasing the efficiency of the mechanic room. We know we're going to need some more custodians for the space. At a minimum, we'd be looking at adding a clerk, and this would be primarily to help us out at the shop library. This would be not increasing any public hours. This is maintaining pre-COVID hours in which Sunday and Monday we were closed at Hilliard, Indian Trail, and Eastside. We do anticipate needing some more security. So what you see is a total operating cost of $685 basically that we'd be looking at. But we know that we have some savings that we can apply for next year because Central won't be open until mid-year. So we can get creative with staffing, and that's what that budget strategy is. It's a saving. So essentially, we'd be looking at $435,000 increase from the current general fund allocation, which is less than 5%, which really isn't too bad given what we're going to be offering up to the public. Now, I want you to hold that number, the 435, because I got another number to share with you. This is adding Sunday and Monday hours to Indian Trail, Hilliard, and Eastside. It's not much of a difference. It's $540,000. What this does is it adds 96 hours per week for the public. What it equates to, when all is said and done in 2023, is 76 cents per citizen per year. That's what that is. That's what the difference is between 96 hours a week extra and 0 hours. So to us, it makes sense to move forward with this recommendation for council because if we're going to do this, let's maximize the access. Let's maximize, how the public can use the facilities. And that's the number that we're hoping to carry forward through the mayor's budget. To us, we look at it and we're like, it's kind of that's kind of a no-brainer when you're looking at that dollar figure. So we're hoping that we can find some sort of solution for 2022 and beyond. And this slide just kind of recaps what we're looking at. It's about 4,800 access hours throughout the system. It's that 92 hours per week. It really allows us to meet diverse needs in the community. Not everyone works a 9-to-5 job. So really, when you think about libraries and the resources, we can build pretty buildings, we can build cool kids areas, but if people can't access them, it's kind of pointless. And we saw that, in the mid 2000s with the facilities only being open, some of them 24 hours per week. So that's my show for today. I wanted to open it up to any questions or thoughts that council might have.
Anybody have questions, comments? Councilmember Wilkerson.
Sign me up for the tour. I'll be reaching out to you because I want to adults play also.
You got it.
Thank you for sharing the numbers. Parks and the libraries are how we really engage our communities. I mean, those are the points of connection that we cannot minimize. And you're right, everybody does not work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 gig. And how can we meet the needs of the citizens who may most need the library on the weekend? So I really support and we're working really hard to make those numbers happen for you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Kinnear.
Andrew, thanks. This is such good information. And I especially like the bumblebee colors for the hive. So that was cool. But I want to echo Councilmember Wilkerson because people don't just engage Monday through Friday. I think it's important that people who do not have connectivity be able to go to a library on weekends if they need to do homework, if they need to do job search. That resource is available to them. And that is one of the reasons that we have libraries, so that it kind of levels the playing field for all of us. So people that don't have computers at home, don't have internet, can have it when they go to their library. So I support those extra hours. I think we can find a way to make that happen. And we're all very creative people, so don't worry about it. Let's just get it done.
Thank you. I should also mention that will add an additional evening for those 3 branches as well. So they were limited to just one evening a week. So we'd be able to scrape or put in another evening as well.
Andrew, sorry here, Councilmember Stratton. The New Leaf Bakery, could you just tell us a little bit how that came about down at East Central, that partnership?
Yeah, so I was at a meeting with the director, Edie, and we just kind of casually started talking about how we have this sort of synergy, and wouldn't it be neat if we could serve as a place for workforce development for the participants in their program. And we kept talking, and, for us to have a cafe, it's not going to be profitable, right? Probably, at least what I've seen in libraries. So for us to go about this with a nonprofit that's doing so much good in the community and providing these training resources, it just seemed like, yeah, let's do this. And also kind of change the experience that you would have downtown with a cup of coffee and some really tasty pastries. That puts people in a good mood.
Anybody else? Andrew, thank you. I have to admit that if you remember, Councilmember Mama and I were there when they did the groundbreaking, and we got hammers and we got to hit the wall. So I've kind of been telling people that we helped with the reconstruction. I
sure did.
Yeah, just a bit of it, but I'm so proud of what I see up at Shadle. I think it's going to be wonderful across town as well. So
thank you so much
for work, and I applaud and echo what Councilmember Kinnear said. We need as many hours as we can, and we need to do whatever we can to get there. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So real quickly, I think what I'm going to do, we had Councilmember Munn has something on the consent agenda that she wanted pulled off for a quick discussion. And Louis Mueller, I see you there. Can you talk a little bit about the SBO, the shift salary savings to consultant services?
Yeah, this is salary savings from vacant positions, planning director and currently two assistant planners. that have been over the course of the year, and we would like to allocate that to consultant services so that we can continue on with items that are on the council-adopted Plan Commission work program. We may be able to tackle Monroe, Perry, and a couple other of the transit-oriented development, and we may be able to help out on some infill code project, which we're going to be getting on. We are starting to have some resources freed in the planning department with the housing action plan soon to be adopted and the downtown plan to be adopted, and we want to get on to additional projects. So this will help assist with that.
Councilmember Mom?
Yeah, I think this is great. We talked about this as just kind of a stopgap because we do have such a backlog of planning projects. Is the salary savings you're talking about for the first 6 months of the year, or are you anticipating not filling that director position for the entire year?
Last week, there was a recruitment started for the planning director. So we hopefully will have somebody on board as planning director before the end of the year. I think the closing date or the first review of applicants is the first week of August. So that position is moving forward. We also, hopefully in the beginning of August, Civil Service will be advertising for the assistant planner positions. That's still on schedule, and so we're hoping to have opportunity to fill those two positions also before the end of the year.
So I don't mean to put you on the spot, but so we didn't hire the other applicants we interviewed in the last 2 rounds of applications?
For planning director?
You're right.
That is correct. Yeah, we've had a brand new advertisement started last week.
Are we doing it different? Are we hiring a recruiter? What are we doing different this time?
Yeah, this time a recruiter was hired. We can make sure that you get the advertisement. We'll send that out to City Council.
Okay, that's helpful. I mean, I really don't want to put you on the spot. I never heard when or why we hadn't hired the others, so thank you for the update.
Thank you, Louis. Appreciate it. Okay, now we're going to go down to council requests. And first up, we've got Melissa Huggins, Shelley Winecoop, and Micah Maloney from the Spokane Arts with their quarterly reports.
Yes, thank you, council members. Karen, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Oh, and I can see you now. Okay, and I see Micah.
Okay, great. Well, thank you so much. Yes, we have both Shelley is calling in, and we have Micah here as well. I will just kick things off and hand it over to them. As you know, Spokane Arts has a very small team, and this is sort of our core team. We also have wonderful support. We have a grants intern. We have an incredible social media person in Melody Chang who helps us out a few hours a week. And, of course, we contract out some public art management on specific projects to Karen Mobley and Juliet Sinistera and some other folks. But this is kind of our core team. So we wanted to give you our quarterly report and let them talk to you directly about the work that they have done over the past year. I just cannot commend Micah and Shelley enough for their incredible work throughout the pandemic. I'm going to get choked up about it, so I will stop there and let them take over. Shelley, I will pull up your slide.
Okay, I'm on the phone, so can anybody hear me?
We can hear you. You might want to speak just a little louder.
Okay. All right. I will try and speak up. So I'm going to give just a very brief overview of the 2 primary granting programs that we have run through Spokane Arts here over the course of 2020 with a little bit of update about the Spokane Art Grants Awards in 2021. So the 2 primary programs that I'm going to talk about today are the CARES Act and the Spokane Arts Grant Awards. So on the next slide, I went ahead and grabbed a graphic from the city of Spokane just to provide some context. So for the CARES funding, Spokane received $9.9 million, about $3 million of which was earmarked for business, arts, and culture. Spokane Arts was entrusted with $455,000 of that to provide pass-through granting to the local arts community. On the next slide, I've got some basic stats for where the CARES funding went. We were able to provide almost $440,000 in CARES grants directly to the Spokane community. The breakdown was about 58% to small and mid-sized organizations, 11% to individual artists, and about 28% to large organizations. We fielded the grant applications as they came in, and we were able to fund most of the applications that we saw. The other program that we were running over 2020 was the Spokane Art Grants Awards. And on the next slide, we were able to give $151,737 directly to the community, providing projects and programming in the arts in the cultural and art sector here in Spokane in 2020. And as you can see, most of our funding went to small and mid-sized groups, about 27% to individual artists, and then we had one large organization get a grant from us in 2020. We cover a really broad variety of disciplines, and we define the arts very liberally. So we include things like cultural arts, storytelling, humanities, and a lot of experimental types of things that the artists in Spokane are up to as well. On the next slide, I talk a little bit about the expressed need versus the funding that we actually are able to provide through SAGA. Even in the best of times, SAGA is only able to provide a small percentage of support to the eligible applications that we receive. This year, with the increased need, we were only able to cover about 23% of the requests that came into us. So we had brought some funding forward so that we could release extra funds during the pandemic, but even so, we were only able to hit about 23% of the need that was eligible to apply for SAGA grants. The cultural sector was disproportionately impacted because of the issues with social distancing. Of course, performing arts in particular were hard hit. And as of July 2020, according to the statewide Cultural and Creative Economic Recovery Survey run by ArtsLaw, about 45% of local arts organizations and creative businesses said that they had less than 3 months cash on hand to cover basic expenses. On the next slide, I talk a little bit about the SAGA resources through the pandemic. SAGA is funded by 1/3 of the Spokane City's admissions tax revenue. That revenue through SAGA then creates more ticketed events, which of course expand the tax base. So since SAGA was funded in 2017, we have seen an increase in that tax base from 2017 up until the pandemic. And we see those revenues on a delayed basis because we get them after they've been collected. So what we're projecting the city projected in May of this year that we would be seeing about an 81% fall off in those revenues. And that is what keeps SAGA running. So without additional support, we're going to have a difficult time meeting the need in the community. On the next slide, I just have some thank yous from the people that we've been serving over the course of the last year. We have been touching the lives really of programs and projects that really are providing a lot of support for extracurricular programs, which have been really in demand since our schools have been struggling so hard over the last year. We're supporting small creative businesses that are putting Spokane on the national map. We are supporting organizations that have fallen through the cracks for other emergency funding. We're supporting live music and performing venues, many of which are still closed. We're supporting individuals who are using their creativity to pay rent and feed their families. And we're supporting collectives and cooperatives who rely on tourism for their income. So the creative community here in Spokane is large and diverse, and we are doing our best to support them where we can, but we really need your help to continue that work. Thanks so much.
Does anybody have questions at this point? Okay, thank you. We'll go back to Melissa.
Sorry, I was struggling to navigate out. Micah, do you want to share your slides directly, or do you? Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and I'll even unmute myself. All right, and are you seeing that program slide now?
We can see it.
Okay, great. So yeah, like Melissa and Shelley.
And Micah, you'll just want to make it full screen if you can.
Oh yeah, thank you. Like Melissa and great. Shelley both mentioned, we have a ton of other things going on, including other public art projects happening. We've got Signal Box Art Wraps, another round of those will be coming up later this summer. The library sculpture projects that Andrew mentioned, as well as a large number of portable works that are getting installed at the library, and a lot of other projects. But I'm going to focus on our murals program. Murals are one of the most impactful and popular programs that we do. There's a ton of interest from the community. They're just by the nature of being outside, in the most part, they're easy for people to come up and interact with. And they're also really popular with artists, and they're a great opportunity for artists to get into all sorts of public art. But they also are time consuming. They require some public art experience or project management experience usually, and quite a bit of skills and knowledge that people don't just come in having. So they have to learn it somewhere. And this year we really wanted to focus on developing some new programs that would create new pathways into public art and expand the base of mural artists in our community that are doing these sort of projects. So the first one I'm going to talk about is a mural workshop that we hosted in June. And so this project, we worked with Tiffany Patterson, which gives us the opportunity to pay an experienced artist to lead this workshop. And she had 6 students, so they were given a free workshop opportunity. And it started with a design class on a Thursday evening. Tiffany covered really like mural specific things, is like what you need to think about with your design when it's a mural as opposed to a painting or a graphic illustration, maybe that some of these people had more of a background with. And then on Friday, they had time on their own to work on their designs. They used a color palette that was limited and selected by Tiffany, so that the overall piece would have some cohesion, but they each were able to totally design their own artwork so that the photos that they end up with are a piece of art that reflects the kind of work they want to do, the style of their own painting. And on Saturday, at the end of June, they installed. Some people were finished up in a couple of hours. A couple people took a couple of days, but they look really great, and already there's been a lot of really good feedback. One of the great things about this is that the artists are learning hands-on, but from start to finish of the project. So they're, like I said, they're getting to learn, they applied for it. So they're getting some application experience. They're working with Tiffany on how to do the design, how to respond to the limitations of the space, any theme or color restrictions. They're creating their design, they're transferring it on the wall, and they're painting it. And so it's a really it's fast and it's small, but it's the full experience. So that's a really great opportunity for them. Another similar program was the Mini Murals program that we started this year. This was a partnership with the City Planning Department. And I'll just give a little shout out to Colin Quinn-Hurst, who has just been delightful to work with and super supportive in helping us find good spots for this and making sure the artists were really supported in the whole process. So these are part of, I believe there's 10 new parking corral locations for bike and scooter parking around the city, and 6 of them got murals this year. We're hoping this will be an ongoing project, and we'll be able to do more and more of these throughout the city. One of my favorite things about this is that they're, although we have several downtown, the 2 you're looking at right now are both on Main Street between Brown and Division. But we installed in Brown's Addition, in West Central, and Logan neighborhood, as well as downtown. And so it brings public art into new spaces. It helps create sort of safe and easy to find parking locations. And these are the bike racks will get added back into these spots. And it's a paid opportunity for these artists. Because it's a small scale mural, that in itself creates a more accessible art project. A lot of people, like I said, that don't have public art or project management experience, have never painted something on this scale before. The size alone is a limiting factor. If you're not able to take several weeks or a month, which is what it takes sometimes to do a huge mural, off and work on that full time or really devote a lot of time to that, you're probably not even applying for mural projects. And if you don't have some of that experience in some sort of mid or small scale thing, you're probably not going to get those projects. So these being smaller the selection committee was really able to focus on selecting and prioritizing less experienced artists and artists from underrepresented groups. And I think that is something we were able to do with both the mini murals and with the mural workshop. And like with the mural workshop, all of these artists now have artwork that they can add to their portfolios. They have this experience from start to finish that they're able to add to their resumes that's going to make them more qualified for future projects, which is really great. And one thing I just wanted to throw this in here to point out that even small temporary projects have a huge impact on artists. I think the professionalization of the trajectory of their careers. So on the left side, you're seeing a temporary mural that Joshua Thomas, who's a younger artist and designer who just recently graduated from the design program at Eastern Washington. And he was able to do one of the small sort of pop-up window covering murals that we did last June. And we helped connect DSP with artists and local businesses for those. And then that turned into this much larger mural project that he was able to get. Again, it's temporary, but now this one, instead of being up for a month or so, is likely to be up for a year at the Cars building on First Avenue. Looks fantastic. It's huge. He has this huge thing to get to share and add to his portfolio. And another thing that we're always hearing about with these mural projects from people is that due to the nature of them being outside, you just start interacting with people more. So that includes while you're there installing and after your work is up. And so it turns into these sort of long-term ways to show your work, to connect with an audience, to find other opportunities. And they're really, like I hear over and over, how impactful that can be. But of course, we're not just doing small scale things. We also have that ongoing Hooptown USA, Spokane Arts and Parks Department partnership with the basketball court murals. This is the North Bank at Riverfront Park court complex, which just got finished up recently. And it is been just hugely popular. People are loving it. They're playing on it all the time, even if it's 110 degrees out. So I think it's going to be really loved for a long time. For this one, as compared to the two projects that we installed last year, we used a similar but different product in the paint. And so this is more of a sport coat coating. And so this was our first time working with this company and this product. And Joshua learned a lot and really spent a lot of time on this project, getting into the learning curve of this new product. And I think it's going to be a superior playing surface, and it should hold up for a long time and be really great. So Joshua worked with two mural apprentices on this. One of which is not a child, but Sarah. This is a picture of Sarah, one of the apprentices, her daughter, who was there helping them out one evening. And those apprenticeships are part of a new program that, again, we're hoping will now be an ongoing thing that we can work on with all of our really large mural projects, is to offer the lead artist the opportunity to have a paid apprentice that Spokane Arts apprenticeship program, that budget, separate from the individual project budget, is helping to cover. So we were able to offer 50 hours of work for two different apprenticeships to work with apprentices to work with Joshua on this. Sarah Coney-Beer and Grayson Hatcher were the two artists for that. And they both were able to work really closely with Joshua, put in a lot of time on this court, gain just invaluable experience, as well as develop a relationship with each other and with Joshua, and start to get a feel for what a large-scale project like this is. So as compared to some of the other projects that I just talked about, this is obviously, they're not there from start to finish. They're only coming in for one section at a time, but they're getting experience working on and understanding and learning the things of what it means to work on a huge project like that. And again, as I think the presence of Sarah's daughter here points out, one of the things that we have to keep in mind with the large-scale mural projects is that it takes so much time. Joshua spent hours and hours and hours and hours there. So if this isn't your full-time thing, figuring out childcare, managing your other jobs and work responsibility is a big part of that. And so to be able to get the experience working on this scale, to learn how these projects work, I think makes a big difference without having to navigate all of those other challenges as it being your full project. So I'm super excited about this apprenticeship program, and I think we'll see that continue. One, with the Thornton Murphy course that's going to happen later this summer. So that one on the left, Nick Goetling is the selected artist. He was selected last year, and he'll install later this summer. So we'll match him up with an apprentice as well. And then we'll also have a new partnership with the Spokane Tribe and the Spokane baseball team for a court mural that's going to go at Franklin Park that you're seeing on the right there. And that one is featuring artwork that came out of the baseball team's ongoing relationship with the tribe and their work on all of that sort of artwork that they based off of George Flood's artwork and have turned into a whole sort of world of artwork and design work that they're going to have on this court here. And we'll be working with Ruben Marcella, who's been their sign painter for years and years, and he's a native artist and sign painter, and we're going to help pair him up with some other mural assistants. So this is another opportunity now. So we'll have the mural apprentice helping on the Thornton Murphy court, and then we'll be able to have Ruben have the opportunity to hire assistants from this roster of now qualified artists that we have that's just expanding from some of these other programs that we've done. So I think it really feeds into itself as helping to expand the number of qualified artists and muralists that are doing things, and I'm super excited about all of that. And that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
Does anybody have questions or comments for Micah? Okay, we'll hand it back to Melissa.
Yeah, just thank you so much, everyone, for your time today. Thank you, Micah and Shelley. I just want to hit two quick things that I want to take away from this presentation. All of the grant making overview that Shelley showed in terms of our 2020 grant making, Spokane Arts did 4.5 times as much grant making in 2020 as we normally do. And we did that with a 3% admin fee, and it was a heavy lift, and I just cannot commend Shelley and Micah and the whole team enough for doing that work to pass through all of that money to organizations and creative businesses and individuals who so desperately needed it. And then almost every single photo that Micah showed, I believe, of a mural is a result of a public-private partnership. And so we are taking, a comparatively small mural budget and really doing a lot of work to leverage that and build partnerships so that we're able to do multiple murals per year instead of just one mural per year. So that is what we have today, and thank you so much for your time.
So I just want to say to Melissa, Micah, and Shelley that you are my heroes. I know the hard work that you're doing. I know that you are a little small office, and the lifts have been very, very heavy, and you guys are amazing, and we appreciate all your work on behalf of the community. So thank you. Okay. Let's go to, let's finish up with Brian McClatchy. He's got the next two, and that's the 6-month moratorium on impact fees and the ARP project employees.
Great. Thank you, Councilmember Stratton.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Just go ahead and take the two together.
Okay, great. Thank you. So the first item is another moratorium on the impact fee exemptions acceptance. This would be a 6-month moratorium, 6-month hold on processing applications for impact fee exemptions, which will give the City Council some time to do some public outreach and to get greater understanding of a new scoring system that has been developed with the Public Development Authority executive directors. to make sure that that's responding to what council wants and move it forward from there. There will be a hearing on August 16th on the moratorium, and the moratorium would last for 6 months. Again, the Public Development Authority directors from the Northeast and West Plains have weighed in on the scoring system, and this will allow some time for both the council and the public to become familiar with it and make whatever changes are needed to make sure that this program is trying to drive the sorts of development that we want to see in the public development areas. Questions or input?
Anybody have questions, comments? Okay, continue on.
Okay, thank you. The next item is very, very similar to the proposed special budget ordinance that we got from the Chief Financial Officer, which would create 3 temporary positions to assist the council and its working group in collaboration with the administration to make sure that the American Rescue Plan Act funds are used appropriately and in a timely manner and responsive to community needs. If you recall, the Chief Financial Officer had sent over 3 positions to be funded by the special budget ordinance, and this retains those, but makes sure that 2 of those positions are temp seasonal in the council office, and 1 of them is a compliance and reporting job position that would report to the Chief Financial Officer to make sure that our compliance and our reporting is done well. We would have 1 project manager in the council office to help the council members and the collaborative work group at the administration make sure that they're making sure that the applications are correct, and a public engagement person, and then of course the CFO will have a reporting and compliance person.
Any questions? Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, I guess I don't really understand. I mean, so are these 2, are they just purely advisory or are they operational? Because if they're operational, I just don't understand how they could be housed on the council side. And then I'm just confused as to how they would report to the CFO if they're housed on the council side. So just maybe some clarity.
Right. So I think I might have gotten that all jumbled up. The compliance and reporting person reports directly to the CFO. That person is supposed to make sure that we're tracking the use of funds and doing the required reports to the Department of Treasury throughout the process. That would be a 3-year or 2.5 year, I suppose, up until 2023. Throughout the entire period, that would be housed and supervised by the CFO. The other 2 are supposed to make sure that the applications that come in are fully documented and that the working group, the council and administration working group, has all the information it needs to consider applications and then move them through the process. And of course, public engagement to try to seek out public input on the community's priorities. And this is something else that we've heard from the administration is very important to them. Although those would be housed in the council office, they would be reporting and assisting the council and administration joint working group as well. So they would be helping the council to make budget and policy decisions on how those funding applications are processed and eventually allocated.
So would they be a partial FTE on the council side and a partial FTE on the administration side?
Actually, I think it's a full FTE under the CFO, and it is half-time on the council side. Each of those 2 would be half-time on the council side.
Okay.
Councilmember Wilkerson.
Thank you. I just wanted to weigh in on that, especially around the community engagement for Councilmember Cathcart, to solicit input from the community and to have someone actually in charge and being able to bring those groups together and to pull that information and get it to council and the administration. Currently, we don't have anyone who could do that, and that's what's really important to us, is to hear from the community. So it is a temp seasonal position. It is not permanent, but it will help us fulfill our commitment to the community that we want to hear from them how this money is being spent and how it's being directed.
Anybody else? Okay, Brian, thank you so much for those updates. We appreciate it. Next, we're going to go to Chris Becker. She's been waiting a long time, and I'm going to have Chris do the staff requests A and B, and then she can do the building permit construction updates. Chris, will that work for you?
Yep, that works.
Okay, you're on.
All right, I've got PowerPoints for you. I can find it. Sorry. Just going to take me a minute. All right. Are you seeing that?
We are seeing it.
Great. So wanted to talk, so both of the contracts, A and B, are for the paid parking equipment replacement. And so I want to start real quick with an update on what we've been doing in parking for the last several months. The good news is all of our vacancies are filled right now, so we have a full team. We hired 4 new people in May. They've been training and getting ready to, they're almost done training. We're getting ready to release them. And then there were 2 other SBOs on the consent agenda for this committee today that will create 2 new positions in parking. One will be assigned to the neighborhood team, which is a conversation we were having, I think, 3 weeks ago at a committee meeting when we were talking about the additional staff in code enforcement. And one will be a clerk, too, that will manage our parking permits as we launch a digital parking permit system later this year. So that's good news. We are working very diligently with Fleet to acquire the vehicles. As a lot of people are having trouble finding vehicles, so are we. So we did get our contract passed for the Konas, for the electric vehicles for parking. We have not been able to locate those. So that our LPR is kind of hinging on that, but Fleet is working diligently for us to find those vehicles. There's a little bit of a delay. Our municipal code that was passed earlier this year went into effect on June 28th, which was the same day that we had our go live with our new citation management software system, and that was intentional. So remember the municipal code was largely a cleanup, but we did increase the citation fees. So that went into effect on June 28th. The software go live went really, really well. There's a few hiccups, and we're working through a few of those bumps, but it went really, really well, and I need to commend staff for they worked really hard on that. It has a much more robust back office functionality for our team, so they're able to get more information more quickly for our staff in the field. It's easier for them to use. It eliminates a lot of manual processes, both for municipal courts and for our parking team. So we're really excited about it. And like I mentioned, the next phase that we're going to be implementing is our permit module, which will allow us to have digital permitting instead of issuing those paper hang tags and the stickers that go in the windows. And then the last thing we're working on is we are putting together an RFP for a mobile payment app. We use Passport right now. We can't do any more extensions on that contract, so we need to go out for an RFP again. And we've written it a little bit differently. It'll be 2-phased. And in the future, hopefully, we will be able to have multiple payment apps that are integrated with our system. So that's the goal, is just customer convenience and ease of use of our system, our whole parking system for all of our users. So this is the current state of our paid parking hardware. Each of the dots indicates a meter or a kiosk. We have about 3,200 meters total. 717 of those are the Dunkin' smart meters, and those are indicated by the pink dots here. And then we have a few scattered in outlying areas. And then we have the 10 parking on kiosks, which are the green dots along Main on the east side of the figure there. The reason I've highlighted those Dunkin' Smart meters for you is that's our critical path right now, is we need to get those replaced because that contract for support ends in December of this year. So I'll give a reminder of our timeline. So we did our RFP last fall, or not last fall, 2019, fall of 2019, and we selected McKay for single and dual space meters, and we selected Calais for kiosks. The parking study recommended a phased 5-year implementation, and we structured our SIP loan for 3 years, for a 3-year implementation, always intending on focusing on the downtown core first, because we knew the life cycle of those Dunkin' meters was coming to an end. Like I mentioned, that expires in December of this year. It is unlikely that we will be able to extend that contract. And so the implementation times for, and barring any material shortages or otherwise, for McKay would be 18 weeks, and Calais would be about 12 weeks. An 18-week implementation time puts us right at the beginning of December if we get the contract approved in the next couple weeks. So this figure shows the recommendation from staff and from our parking consultant, Dixon. It utilizes a combination of both meters and kiosks. The kiosks are shown on the blocks with the red line, and then the area highlighted in blue in the downtown would be single and dual space meters. And our recommendation is to use those meters in the high turnover areas in the downtown core. Those are all 2-hour meters. Where we already have the kiosks on Main, we would leave those in place as shown by that red line. This is primarily for customer convenience. As we have higher turnover and more people using those parking spaces, they're not all having to walk half a block down to use a kiosk, or if they don't have the app or not inclined to use the app, it would be more convenient for them. Additionally, the meters are cheaper than a kiosk. The single and dual space meters are about $700 to $900 a piece. The kiosks are about $7,000 a piece. So you really need to use them in those concentrated areas where you have a lot of meters on a block. The meters also help us with meter reservations as businesses need to reserve a particular parking stall in front of their business, maybe for a moving truck or a service company, or for special events. The new meter hardware does allow us to actually display a reserved message on the meter, as well as we have those, like the special event placards and other messaging available to us. It's just going to be a lot more convenient for us to reserve those particular stalls using the meters than it will be if we're using kiosks in that downtown core. And it also allows us, our intent is to maintain the foot patrols in the downtown. We believe, it's been our experience, our parking staff acts as ambassadors. There's a sense of security when you're seeing uniformed city employees on the street. And, you know, they often are helping visitors and our residents and citizens. So we would like to do that. So we were asked to look at this area highlighted in blue and provide some additional analysis. So we have a couple other options to show you. So this is option 1, and this is looking at utilizing kiosks on block faces with 8 or more meters. And then we would utilize the single and dual space meters in all other areas. So the kiosks, again, are those red lines. So those are blocks with 8 or more meters. And the blue lines are where we would have the meters. Did I say that backwards? Red is kiosk, blue is meter. This option is not recommended by staff. It creates an inconsistent customer experience. You can see that in some cases, every other block is meters and kiosks and meters and kiosks. In some cases, you have meters on one side and kiosks on the other. we think it would be very confusing for people to come down and try to park in this environment. It creates some pretty significant inconsistencies in collections and enforcement because collections for meters uses different equipment than collections for kiosks. We use foot patrols for collecting from meters. We would use vehicles for collecting from kiosks. In enforcement, there's some differences between the two as well. And not to mention there would be an increase in cost here. So we looked at trying to meet the spirit of having more kiosks in the downtown. We looked at an option 2, and that is utilizing kiosks on the block faces between Division and Washington, because a lot of those in the previous slide you would see were red for kiosks, and then leaving everything in between Monroe and Washington utilizing the meters there. Felt like that was a more consistent experience. It utilizes those meters at the highest turnover and highest utilized spaces, so we know those are going to be the ones that have the most people at them. Collections and enforcement are more efficient. The increase in cost for this scenario is not as significant, and it does maintain our ability to reserve a particular stall at the request of a business or special event applicant in the most congested part of downtown. In other areas of the city, there's more flexibility because there's not so much demand with those particular stalls. So I put together some cost estimates for 4 options because we were also asked to look at what would the cost be if we used kiosks everywhere. So the staff recommendation is $3.6 million, and that was the recommendation, or that was the scenario we were utilizing when we were putting together the SIP loan, because that was approved for $3.6 million over the 3 years. Option 1, which was kind of that patchwork of meters and kiosks in the downtown, that's about $4 million. Option 2, which is kiosks on the east end, meters on the west end of the downtown core, is $3.7 million. And then all kiosks would be about $4.5 million. So we are amending the contracts so that they're unit price contracts, so we have the flexibility. We're not locked into X number of kiosks and X number of meters. So the drafts of the contracts were included in the packet today, and we'd be looking for approval of those contracts by the beginning of August, which will allow us to get an order in, get delivery here, and hopefully get most of that equipment installed before the snow flies this fall.
Hey, Chris, before you get too far down the road, can you pop that last financial slide back up?
Sure.
Sorry to interrupt. I just don't want it to go away.
Okay.
My question is, that's the assumption that the same amount of income comes in. Is that true? Do we make the same amount of money with kiosks than meters?
Well, the rate is the same.
I know. But so I trust it, and I spend way more when I use a kiosk. So I think we can't just look at the cost. We have to look at the net. We have to look at the income.
What do you mean you spend more? Like the minimum payment is more?
Yeah.
I would have to look at that.
You have to pay $1.20.
That's the same for the app too. We have a minimum.
But you used to be able to put a quarter or a dime in and get a few minutes. You see what I'm saying?
At a meter, you can. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think you see where I'm headed. We're just looking at one side of the equation here. And before we pull the trigger, I kind of want to know what's the revenue side.
I'll have to ask about minimum payment. And I'm not sure about that.
And then when it comes to kiosks versus meters, what's the labor cost? Is there a differential there?
I'll have to get back to you on that too.
I really would rather look at the whole picture. Thank you.
All right.
Does anybody have questions and comments for Chris? on this part. So, Chris, it might be that if you can get some answers for Councilmember Mum, we can get you back on another committee real quick to discuss that.
Sure.
Councilmember Wilkerson?
So, Chris, this is probably nothing to do with what you just presented, but I had a couple of constituents concerned about their tickets. If their ticket is lost with this new technology, how do they find it? It used to be you could put in your license plate number. So is there a new process? How will that work?
So we have similar ability. So we do have a website, just like we had under the old system. I haven't been on it recently to know, but I would assume that we could look it up with, I know we can look it up with your license plate. I can't tell you 100% for sure that they would be able to look up on the website too, but.
Well, they can't. So I would ask you to go back and look at that from the customer side of it. Because if it blows away, we do want them to pay, but if it's such an obstacle to get information, how is that working for us? Thank you for looking into that.
I'll find that out. Mm-hmm.
Anybody else? Okay, Chris, we have about 10 minutes if you want to close it up with the building permit construction updates.
Sure.
And thank you for your patience and waiting till the end.
Okay. Let me grab that one. All right, can you see that? So our permit activity, we continue to be busy. We are up about 17%. New single-family residences continue to be up. We issued 259 through the end of June, and our valuations are up 19%. And you can see that our online permitting continues to climb. We're at 82.2%. So we ended June at $366 million in valuations. This is the breakdown of valuations by project size. So we had $152 million in projects greater than $10 million. $85 million of that was the two schools, the Northeast and Northwest Middle School. The remainder is a lot of Central City Line projects. There was a couple at the airport, and we had our city, our engineering field office project came in. And we continue to see a strong activity in those smaller projects as well. This compares publicly funded versus privately funded. And again, the $104 million is the schools, the airport, Central City Line, strong private investment in our community. Like I mentioned, we had 259 single-family homes issued, so we beat last year, what we issued in total last year. And we have 36 in plan review right now, and we have about 50 that the plan review has been approved and are ready to issue. So another 86 more getting ready to go.
So, Chris, at that pace, oh, thank you. At that pace, what do you think we're going to hit in the 500s?
I don't know, because maybe they're not coming in as quickly as they came in at the beginning of the year. We're still getting 15 to 30 applications a month, but I would not expect to see double.
Okay. But that puts us at certainly in some of the top 10 years in building permits. I know there was a lot of pent-up demand, and that was prior to the big housing bubble. So good to hear. Thank you.
So this is the map we created last month showing the valuation and the colors represent the valuation of the projects and the distribution across the city. I am going to point out that we have, it's not we're not showing a 1-to-1 ratio here. And that has to do with the way one of our reports is running. So a couple of these orange and yellow, which are the above $600,000 projects, are actually permitted as commercial buildings. So it's really like a 4-plex or a 6-plex. And so we just have a little bit of cleanup on the back end to do there. Because I was like, ooh, we have a lot of $1 million homes going in, but we don't. We have some 4-plexes and multifamily that just are, the codes got a little confused. So we'll send this out in Power BI form so that you can hover over them and get more detail. So this is the multifamily. We have issued permits for 479 units. We were at about 330 last month. And in plan review, we have another 595 units right now.
Chris, take Betsy here. I just want to make an observation on that prior screen where we saw all the housing development. It was glaringly obvious we did not have very much going on in the city core for development. So that whole lack of infill, which we are trying to address, continues to be challenging and frustrating, I think, for most of us on council and for neighborhoods.
So I did not include the map for the multifamily because, as I was mentioning, some of our codes in our reporting, we have some cleanup we need to do there. So I took that map out, but it will be back next month. We were making some changes to it as well so that you could see the type of housing versus just strictly the distribution based on valuation. And we were also looking at the valuation per unit versus the valuation per the total project, which I think would be more informative to you. So that'll be back next month. I apologize for not having that this time. So this is the map.
Sorry, I saw Councilmember Kinnear and I didn't get on it fast enough. She has a question.
Sure.
Hi, thanks. So, Councilmember Wilkerson, I've been working on development incentives, and I've touched base with Chris a couple of times on this, and then working with our policy team. And I think when we get to look at those, they should be ready for prime time soon, within the next couple of weeks. It's going to show that some of these incentives are going to drive more development in our centers and corridors and certainly our downtown. But without those incentives, I don't see that changing as fast as we'd like it to. So I'm hopeful that we can get some things up and running and get on that quicker so that we don't continue to have that big donut hole in the middle of our city where not just multifamily, but townhouses and other opportunities for purchase could be available. So that's kind of a spoiler. Look for that, and I'm hopeful that we'll get something before council within the next 2 weeks.
All right. This is the map showing the largest projects issued. The ones that are new this month are this one down here, which is the 206 West Riverside, which is a change of use into multifamily. It will be 138 units. And then this one down here, which was the East Side Air Cargo Facility at the airport. This is the largest projects in plan review. And the new one here is this one, the Mother Teresa Haven, which is out there by SFCC, and it will be 72 units in 3 residential buildings. And then this is the largest projects that are in pre-development and have not made application yet. The new one here is this one here, which is the Garden District Apartments, which was about 76 units up there off of 29th, part of the Greenstone development. And I think that is my last slide.
So I'm just telling everybody, I just got a text that we have to be done exactly at 3 o'clock. So we have 2 more minutes for questions, comments. Chris, anything? No? Okay, great. We'll see everybody then at 3:30. Thank you for a good meeting and for joining us, and we'll see you soon.